Good afternoon, everyone. So in year 10, a lot of you remember studying the different air masses that overlap over the UK. And the term we tend to use is the UK is located on a weather roundabout where 5 different air masses bring air and meet over our heads, which means that depending on which air mass is the most powerful at a said time, our weather is going to change quite dramatically. So if you think of the last few days, it's been absolutely horrific weather over the UK. We had Storm Christoph, where we got lots of wet, humid air. It was just abysmal weather outside the window. And then today I'm here at school supervising key worker children's, and blue sky. There's a cloud behind me, there's tiny clouds up there, but that's pretty much it. It's incredibly good weather, but it's way colder than it was during the storm itself. And I don't know how many of you thought about why is that usually the case, that when you get really high, when you get really just wet weather, you tend to get warmer weather than when you get really dry weather, which tends to be very cold. And the reason for that is because usually cold weather like this system here is a high pressure system that's moving over the UK, and in a high pressure system you get sinking cold air. So you remember that cold air is heavier, denser, therefore it sinks, and that's you can notice this here, like the wind that is currently blowing across me. You can see how many layers I've got. It's absolutely freezing, but because it's sinking cold air, it means air can't rise, and if air can't rise, it cannot condensate and create clouds. So in the case of the weather today, we get cold sinking air, meaning that the winds will be chilly, but the sky will be usually very clear, and we'll get a little bit warmth through the sunshine that'll be shining. Okay. However, a few days ago we had really windy conditions. We had loads of clouds, we have loads of rain, and it was a bit warmer. And the reason for that is because storms only form in low pressure system. So in the low pressure system, the hot air will rise. As it rises, it'll condense, it'll create a cloud, and when the cloud is saturated, it starts to rain. Low pressure systems tend to be systems where two air masses meet, and when two air masses meet, you get hot and cold air meeting, and it creates really unstable weather. And so it's what we call a depression, and in a depression you get very unstable weather. You get very stormy, windy, wet weather, and then once that depression moves over, we get left with what's behind the depression, which is an area of high pressure, clear blue skies, cold but crisp weather. And that's basically how the air flows around our atmosphere, and this, as a result of this flowing air, that we get the weather we do in the UK. And the key thing you need to understand is that air always travels from areas of high pressure, so where we are now, to an area of low pressure. So it means that eventually air will flow so that we will end up being in another area of low pressure and another storm. But air always flows from a high pressure system, so you basically squeeze the atmosphere. Air flows out of the high pressure system into a low pressure system where it's able to rise and create a cloud. Okay, but whilst the high pressure systems are here, definitely enjoy it. I'm having a lunch break here, and I'll make the most of the sunshine, because we do live in the UK, and no one knows how long that's going to last.